नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल। नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल।
नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल। नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल।
नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल।
नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल।
नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल।
नारायण हरि नारायण हरि हरि बोल।
नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण 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 हरि बोल।
नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल। नारायण हरि नारायण नारायण हरि
नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल। नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल।
हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल। नारायण हरि नारायण नारायण हरि बोल।
नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल। नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल।
नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल।
नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल।
नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल।
नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल।
नारायण हरि नारायण हरि
नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल।
नारायण हरि
नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण
तन किसी का है दिया।
मैं नहीं मेरा नहीं तन किसी का है दिया।
अपने पास है वह धन किसी का है दिया।
जो अपने पास है वह धन किसी का है दिया।
मैं नहीं मेरा नहीं यह तन किसी का है दिया।
मैं नहीं मेरा नहीं यह तन किसी का है दिया।
देने वाले ने दिया वह भी दिया किस शान से।
देने वाले ने दिया वह भी दिया किस शान से।
देने वाले ने दिया वह भी दिया किस शान से।
देने वाले ने दिया वह भी दिया किस शान से।
मेरा है यह लेने वाला कह उठा अभिमान से।
मेरा है यह देने वाला कह उठा अभिमान से।
मेरा यह कहने वाला मन किसी का है दिया।
मेरा यह कहने वाला मन किसी का है दिया।
मैं नहीं मेरा नहीं यह तन किसी का है दिया।
मैं नहीं मेरा नहीं यह तन किसी का है दिया।
धन किसी का है दिया।
धन किसी का है दिया। हरि शरणं 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 हरि शरणं
हरि शरणं हरि शरणं
हरि शरणं हरि शरणं
हरि शरणं हरि शरणं
हरि शरणं हरि शरणं
हरि शरणं हरि शरणं हरि शरणं हरि शरणं
हरि शरणं हरि शरणं हरि शरणं हरि शरणं हरि शरणं हरि शरणं हरि
सरोज रज निज मनु मुकुरु सुधारी बरनउ रघुबर विमल जसु जोदायक फलचारी बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेस विकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीसति हूँ लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मूज जनेऊ साजे शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज संवारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुबीर हरषि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरतई सम भाई सहस बदन तुम रोजस गावे अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा जम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाते कवि कोविद कहि सकै कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीवहि कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीन्हा तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना जुग सहस्र जो जन पर भानु लील्योताहि मधुर फल जानू प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माही जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाही दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हरे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज संहारो आपे तीनों लोक हांकते कांपे भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे महावीर जब नाम सुनावे नासै रोग हरै सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत वीरा संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे चारों जुग पर ताप तुम्हारा है पर सिद्ध जगत उजियारा साधु संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे अष्ट सिद्धि नौ निधि के दाता असवर दीन जानकी माता राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे अंत काल रघुबर पुर जाई जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई और देवता चित्तन धरई हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीरा जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई छूट ही बंदी महासुख होई जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा होय सिद्धि साखी गौरीसा तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा पवन तनय संकट हरन मंगल मूर्ति रूप राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसहु सुर भूप सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय।
Jai Shri Krishna, everyone. A very, very, very warm welcome to all of you on this auspicious divine evening of Ekadashi. With the blessing of our Param Pujya Guruji, Govind Dev Giriji Maharaj, we have been given this opportunity to read Gita, teach Gita, and live Gita. Throughout this week, we started with chapter 13, completing our read Gita. Today, we are going to hear the interpretation of very dear Shraddha Didi to be able to live Gita. As for teach Gita, since all of us are not equipped to be able to teach, we can spread awareness about Gita ji. Let me remind you that the 28th batch of L1 is going to start on 18th of September. So let's spread the word about Gita Parivar, about Gita ji, and include as many people as possible for being able to read Gita. So we are going to contribute to teach Gita that way. But before we begin anything, let's go towards the one thing that empowers us to overcome situations that are beyond our control, the prayer. For prayer, I'm going to invite Meenakshi Didi. Meenakshi Ahir Didi is from Nasik and she's a designer. She joined Gita Parivar in August of 2022 and currently is Sadak for L4 level. But at the same time, she's giving her divine time as a Sevi, as tech support. Welcome, Didi. Unmute. Ji.
जय श्री कृष्ण वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरु श्रीकृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरु जय श्री कृष्ण.
Thank you, Didi, for this auspicious beginning. This little guiding light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Light brings hope. Light brings knowledge. Light brings the sunlit path which leads us on this divine path. For Deep Prajwalan, I'm going to call forward Priya Didi. Priya Didi is from Bangalore and she's a homemaker. She joined Gita Parivar in September of 2021 and has been serving as a tech support since January 2022. Recently, she started as a trainer in April of 2023. Welcome, Didi.
निषिद्धैरप्येभिर्लुलितमकरन्दो मधुकरैः करैरिन्दोरन्तश्छुरित इव सम्भिन्नमुकुलः विधत्तां सिद्धिन्नो नयनसुभगामस्य सदसः प्रकीर्णः पुष्पाणां हरिचरणयोरञ्जलिरयम् शरदिन्दुनिभां शुभ्रां शुभ्रवस्त्रैरलङ्कृतां कलहंसकृतावासां वरदां शारदां नुमः.
Thank you, Didi, for this beautiful darshan. Now moving forward to the real agenda of today. We have our beautiful, divine, graceful Shraddha Didi here to tell us about the 13th chapter. Kshetra Kshetragya sounds very complicated, especially after this 11th chapter and the 10th chapter we did. But Shraddha Didi is here to throw light on it. Before I invite Shraddha Didi, I must tell something about her. And I know she doesn't like when I say so much, but there's a reason why I say what I say about Shraddha Didi. She finds time for so many things, and we always have a reason for not doing certain things. Shraddha Didi is a resident of Hyderabad. She's BA Electronics and postgraduate diploma in IT system and management. She has worked as a mobile application developer and team lead for more than 13 years. She has been conducting Śrīmad-Bhagavadgītā classes at her residence in Hyderabad for more than 9 years now, and it is associated with online Gita classes since August 2020 directly as a trainer. Didi has also given training for Bhopal jail classes, and those inmates have cleared their exam. Didi is disciple of Swami Govind Dev Giriji Maharaj, and for Gita classes, she is a trainer, examiner, vivechar, and heading the class monitoring. it goes on, and I know Didi is going to say that these worldly things are not important. I know, Didi, but this is an inspiration. You inspire me to be able to find time to do things that are important and to be able to focus on what is important. Welcome, Didi.
Jai Shri Krishna, Meenakshi ji, and Jai Shri Krishna, everybody else. Thank you so much. Just like you, I'm also enjoying this Gita Seva, and we all are blessed to be in Gita Parivar and get to do Gita Seva, because what we learn depends on how much Seva we do. We'll see this in this chapter further also. And on that note, let's just bring pranam to all the Gita Parivar senior people and everybody. Let us begin with the Vivechan, with the Prarthana, remembering Swamiji and Shri Krishna himself. Hari Om. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha. Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Krishnaya Vasudevaya, Haraye Paramatmane, Pranatah Kleshanashaya, Govindaya Namo Namaha. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavatam Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Krathitam Purana Muninam Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshini Bhagavati Mashtadashadhyayini Amba Tvamanusandadhami Bhagavadgītē Bhavatveshini. Om Shri Gurave Namaha, Om Shri Krishnaya Namaha. We all are learning beautiful chapters, and we are at the onset of the 13th chapter. This has been a very beautiful journey for all of you through L1, L2, L3, and L4. You've seen that in this entire journey, we all are, it's, as if we are sailing on a ocean, Jnana Sagar, as we would call it, an ocean of knowledge, where you've seen many chapters. And at the onset of this chapter, I think we are at a point in this Jnana Sagar, at the point where it is the depth of the knowledge, it's at its peak. The knowledge is as deep as we can imagine. This is one of the toughest chapter, as per not only just the meanings, but also pronunciation wise, it is considered as one of the toughest chapter. And every time I personally chant this chapter or try to go through the meanings, every time there is the newness of this chapter is, the chapter appears as new as it was when I read it for the first time. It is a very beautiful chapter, a very deep chapter. See, we all know entire Bhagavad Gita is 18 chapter long conversation. It is a grantha which is 18 chapters long. So if you see the 18 chapters, it can be divided into 3 sets. Chapter 1 to 6 as can be considered as one set. Chapter 7 to 12 is another set. And from 13 onwards till the 18th chapter is the third set. If you look, this is a conversation. This grantha was not not written by sitting at one peaceful place, well thought about. It is not like that. It was a very deep conversation in a very stressful situation that had happened, where Shri Krishna has given lot of courage to Arjun, given lot of knowledge to Arjun at a very critical point in his life. And this entire conversation therefore has a very logical, nice flow. And though it has a flow, it is also, at one point of time focusing on certain thing, and the flow, in a flow of thoughts, it moves towards another direction. The first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita can be considered as karma pradhan. What is the meaning of karma pradhan? They are more task centric or more work centric or more focused on our duties. They are more focused on how we should be performing our duties in this human form. Starting from the 7th chapter, the seed of bhakti, the seed of devotion is sown, and we see a beautiful set of chapters which are bhakti pradhan, means which are very focused on devotion, very focused on what? On bhakti. And starting from the 13th chapter, it takes a gradual turn towards gyan, that is towards knowledge. And this chapter is a deep dive into the deepest knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. So the Jnana Pradhan, the knowledge centric chapters begin from this particular chapter. In my capacity, I have a firm belief that I don't have the capacity to explain this chapter. And it is only by the virtue of Swamiji and my other gurus who can, that I might be able to do little justice to the depth that I see in this chapter. So definitely we all should seek. I have a firm belief that in every class, in every session, every event of this Gita Parivar, every event that we take a part in, there is a subtle presence of Swamiji, and I go down again to the subtle presence of Swamiji in this meeting also, and then proceed further on this chapter. While we begin with this chapter, there is one confusion that many sadhaks always have about what is the first shloka of this chapter. This question comes from many people in the classes also, that we see that there in other books, in some books, the first shloka starts from Arjuna Uvacha. There is a question by Arjun, and why do we skip it in our Gita? Now, this we should all understand that whatever we are learning in this particular sequence of shlokas, in this particular syllabus, we refer to all the Gita Press books. Now, when this chapter is introduced, we always refer to the Gita Parivar books, Gita Press books, and Gita Press books are based on the entire explanation is based on what Shankaracharya, Adi Shankaracharya has written. The inference, all the bhashya on Bhagavad Gita by Adi Shankaracharya is referred to as Shankara Bhashya. In that, there is no mention about this particular shloka that is present in some of the books. And since there is no mention of that shloka in Shankar Bhashya, we also at Gita Press, it was excluded from the Gita Press books. And we also follow that tradition, and hence that shloka by Arjun. So some people believe that it has been introduced to give a logical flow, because at the end of the 12th chapter, in the 12th chapter is Bhakti Yoga. The 12th chapter entirely focuses on devotion and characteristics of an ideal devotee. After that, how come Shri Krishna has automatically driven deep into this Kshetragnya Vibhaga Yoga? That is a question that comes to many people. And just for answering that, some people have introduced this particular shloka from Arjun just to pose like a question for a logical flow. However, since it is not there, since it is omitted from Shankar Bhashya, we are also not considering it over here. So the first shloka for us would be from Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. And before we dive deeper into this, before we begin into this chapter, we should also, have one thing should be very clear, that this, as I told you, this is a continuous flow. It is a proper flow from Bhakti Yoga to Kshetragna Vibhaga Yoga. The name of this chapter is Kshetragna Vibhaga Yoga. This chapter elaborately deals with what is the difference between these two words, Kshetra and Kshetragna. We will gradually come to it. But what connection does it have with Bhakti Yoga? That first we have to understand. We have seen how towards the end of 11th chapter also, we have seen a very beautiful shloka by Krishna, where he has said, Mat karma krin mat paramo. give all your devotion to me and do all the duties for me. And following that shloka, what has happened? Shri Krishna, Arjun was curious that I am somebody who can only focus on the Dvibhuj Roop. We have seen the 11th chapter where Vishwarupa Darshan was given. And there Arjun got scared. He said, I want to see your Chaturbhuj Roop and then the Dvibhuj Roop. Why the Dvibhuj Roop? This is, we have seen at that point also that this is a limitation of our human brain, that we need some image, some idol in front of us to focus our thoughts on. It is difficult for each one of us to directly focus on what? On Vishwaroop or on a cosmic energy. We need some image to focus on, and that is where Saguna Bhakti comes into picture. What is the meaning of Saguna Bhakti? As you are all L4 students, and though this is going to be in English Vivachan, there are certain terms which all of us should be well aware of. Some of them, and Sagun Bhakti and Nirgun Bhakti, are two very important terms that as Gita Sadhaks we should all know. Sagun is of the devotion or the worship that we do of a image, by keeping some form, some photo, some image in front of us. That is the Sagun Bhakti. And the Nirgun Bhakti is the worship of the cosmic power, Nirgun. So the one which is which doesn't have any form, a supernatural power which we all believe is the basic cause behind all creations. It is very difficult for a human brain to focus on the Nirgun power or the Nirgun form of God. Even in the 12th chapter, we have gone through the slok, right? Klesho dikatarastesham avyakta sakta chetasam avyakta higate dukkhande bhiravapyate. It is very difficult. For whom dehavadbhi means the ones who are residing in this body, the ones who are in a body. For them, it is very difficult to focus on what? On the avyakta, on the formless cosmic energy. So it is difficult for them. Because it is difficult for them, they need to fix their mind on what? A bounded, a manifested form of Shri Krishna or any other form. Throughout the 12th chapter, one very important thing you all should see in that Shri Krishna has not mentioned do bhakti of God, Goddess Durga, or no particular form of God has been mentioned. No particular form of worship has been praised. Nothing has been kept beyond, above others. What is important is the characteristics of a devotee. So Shri Krishna has very elaborately explained what are the characteristics of the devotee. Total 49 virtues he has discussed. So it is not important. See, it is important that we follow all that is mentioned in the Vedas, and all the scriptures and all the rituals are very important to be followed, because that is what is going to instill a samskar, a habit in us to understand the importance of the cosmic power. So that is the first step. Now, when we are doing puja, what is this? So we have in the 12th chapter, we have seen Sagun Bhakti, how a devotee should be, how his behavior should be, how his devotion should be. But that is particularly focused on a Sagun Bhakti. How important it is to be a devotee, how important, the importance of that Sagun Bhakti and connecting it with the Nirgun form. That is explained in this 13th chapter. It sounds little complicated, but try to understand this from one particular example that I'll tell you. Suppose we meet someday, and Swamiji gives this example that a murti, a small murti is given to you, a small Krishnaji is given to you, a Kanaji's murti is given to you, and or a photo, something, and it is given as a gift. You will accept it because it is given by somebody you respect a lot. Once you take that, and then, okay, I have so many idols at the home, it's okay, let me just take it. Now, just when you are carrying this idol back home, and I call you and tell you the idol that I've given you, it is made of pure gold, okay? Then all of a sudden the value of that image, the value of that idol increases. It becomes extremely valuable. If you have given it to somebody else for packing, you say, hey, okay, give it to me. I'll keep it with me only. Keep it in your own purse and take great care of it, because it is made up of what? It is made up of gold. So just because it is made up of gold, what happens? The value addition has happened. The value addition has happened to that idol, which we would have otherwise kept it like a normal brass idol and done. What is the value addition? That what is the importance of that Krishna Bhagwan whom you are worshipping? How mighty is that Krishna Bhagwan, and how he is present everywhere? That is more in more detail. It will be explained in this particular chapter. In this particular chapter, Arjun is being told the greatest secrets of life. Shri Krishna is directly leading him to what? Directly leading him to Atmagyan. What is Atmagyan? We should assess ourselves. What is more important? No matter what we are doing, first thing one should always know is who are we? What am I? Who am I? That is the first and foremost important question that each one of us should possess. And this is the question that is going to be primarily addressed in this particular chapter. Most of the time we are unaware of what is present in our houses, within us, what is present within us. And first, let us see our house. What are so many places we'll visit, so many different places we go as tourists, we buy so many valuable and other things, and then just forget about it. And one fine day, if you start cleaning and then you realize, oh my God, I already had this stuff. Oh, this I'd completely forgotten about this particular thing that I had. So we forget what we have. We sometimes lack the knowledge of what we are, what we have within us. This chapter, it is like a mirror. This is the chapter that is going to make us aware of what treasure lies within us. This entire initiative of 13th chapter has been taken by Shri Krishna to make Arjuna aware of what is lying within him, what is lying within ourselves, and that understanding the value of that, understanding the value of the Sagun Bhakti, understanding the value of what lies within us, and what is the importance of this particular human form, then that ultimately will lead a path toward ultimate liberation. And that is the crux of this entire chapter, and hence this is an extremely important chapter. What does Shri Krishna start telling? He starts from a very critical shloka and straight to the point. Śrīmad-Bhagavadgītā idam shariram kaunteya kshetramityavidhiyate etadyo veti tam prahuh kshetrajñā iti tadvidham. Here what Shri Krishna is saying, idam shariram kaunteya kshetramityavidhiyate. Very important what this entire body is. This body is he has given a term called kshetra. Kshetra literally translates into what? Into field. The kshetra literally means a field. In this chapter, Shri Krishna is introducing the first two terms, and the first term here is kshetra. And he says this kshetra means field in English, and here what he is saying, the kshetra word is referring to what? Our own body. We start considering ourselves now. One very important word here, a very small word I want to bring your attention to, is the word idam. Idam shariram. What is saying? This sharir and not me. We have to focus on this one thing. When we talk about ourselves, we don't say this body. What we'll say? my body or me, simple. This is the routine conversation we have. What we'll say, me or my hand, my nose, not this body's nose, this body's eyes, no. But here the word that Shri Krishna uses is idam. It is used in the form of a object, a third party object, not me. The sanskar, the habit that we have, we start considering ourselves as this body, and we get so deeply associated with what? This body itself. Idang sharirang kaunteya kshetra mitya bhidiyate. This is known as what? As a body. Every minute this physical body is deteriorating. We should understand that this physical body is at every point of time deteriorating, and we have to understand that this is a kshara, means a deteriorating, a destructible form. And usually a human beings, with whatever intellect he has, he associates this body with what? Himself. But what Shri Krishna says, this body is kshetra. And there is another thing, which is another term that he has used is kshetragnya. Kshetragnya, he says, is etad yo veti tam prahu kshetragnya iti tadvidaha. Now there are two important things. One thing is something which is visible. This body is visible, and there is another thing who is seeing. So there is a view and there is a viewer. Okay, so when we say there is a person, there is a view, that is something that is visible, and there is somebody who is actually seeing it. Now, what Shri Krishna says is, there is a view. The viewer, the one who knows everything, is kshetragnya. The one who understands that this body is a kshetra is what? Is a kshetragnya. Eta, the one who knows that this body is called kshetra, or it is a field. The body is a field. The one who has a knowledge that the body is a field and not the person himself, that person is what? Kshetragnya. When the letter gnya is added to any word in Sanskrit, then it means the knower of. Okay, for instance, Sangeet, Sangeetagnya. Sangeet is music. The word Sangeetagnya means what? The one who is a knower of music. Sangeet, Sangeetagya. Similarly, there are many. Ganit, Ganitagya. Ganit is maths. Ganitagya is the mathematician. So the one who knows it, when the nya word is added, then that word is then that means the one who has a knowledge of kshetra. So there is one thing that is kshetra, and then the other one is kshetragnya. One is a view, and the one who understands that view is the viewer. It is the kshetragnya. Now, what Shri Krishna wants us to do is that he wants us to understand that this sharir, this body, for it, which word he has used, idam, we should disassociate this body from the feeling of it being me. This disassociation is what Shri Krishna wants us to look at. How can this disassociation be? Let's look at a small thing. You think about a mirror. When a mirror is placed in front of you, what do you see in it? You see your own reflection. That reflection is not you. It is just a reflection. It is an image of you. What is happening to the mirror? The mirror is giving a reflection of you, but is it capturing your image? No, it is not capturing the image. It is just showing you your image. It is not having a permanent memory of it. It is separate from you. So this is for it, you are just a kshetra visible in the mirror. What does a camera do? Camera takes a picture of you, it stores its memory. We all are behaving like cameras. Though we are not actually the body, we have started believing, we have captured that image within us that this is me. This is the perception. The perception that we should ideally have about our body is the one that is there in a mirror, where we do not consider, we just look at it as a reflection and we don't associate ourselves very closely to it. However, the perception that we have about ourselves is like the one that is there in a camera, where we strongly believe that this body is us. This is what Sri Krishna wants us to understand. If these two words we understand, then this chapter is half done. Tang kshetram iti tadvidah prahuhu. So just like I told you, the one who knows Shastragnya, Sangeetagnya, Tattvagnya, like that, Kshetragnya, one who knows that is the Kshetragnya. And this Kshetragnya, it is an embodiment of God himself. Shri Krishna explains in the next verse, Kshetragnya chapi mau vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata kshetra kshetragnayo jnanam yattajnanam matam mama. Two extremely important definitions he has explained here. Kshetragnya chapi mau vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. Three important things. First, there is a Kshetragnya, which Shri Krishna has explained about. There is a Kshetra, and there is a one who understands this Kshetra, and that Kshetragnya, you consider me as that Kshetragnya. And where am I present? I am present in each one of these kshetras, in these fields, each body. Why it is being called a field, that also we'll gradually see, okay? But for now, understand that each of the body is a field, and in each of these fields, Sarva Kshetreshu Bharata, this Kshetragnya is residing in each of these fields. These two things he's saying. First, you consider that this observer who is observing the field, who is noticing what is going on, this observer is me, Kshetragnya. I am the Kshetragnya. I am this observer, and where am I residing? In each of these fields. And in the second line, Shri Krishna is giving the definition of knowledge. What is knowledge? Kshetra kshetragnayor jnanam yattajnanam matam mama. I am telling you, very important. See, knowledge is considered very important. Throughout Bhagavad Gita, there is immense importance given to this word jnana, to this immense importance has been given to the word knowledge. And what Shri Krishna is explaining, what is actual knowledge? The distinction, the knowledge of Kshetra and Kshetragnya is the actual knowledge. We have to understand this one particular fact that Shri Krishna is trying to explain. And why is knowledge most important in Bhagavad Gita? Karma is very important. Bhakti is extremely important. But how is this bhakti in Bhagavad Gita? Swamiji gives a very important perspective on this, that the knowledge in Bhagavad Gita is very important. The knowledge is the foundation of what? Of the bhakti, of the devotion that is explained in Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, Swamiji always tells that the devotion, the bhakti in Bhagavad Gita is based on what? Based on the foundation of knowledge. It is jnana dhishtit bhakti. So the devotion that we have learned in Bhagavad Gita is enshrined upon what? It is enshrined on knowledge. Now, there are different types of knowledge. Some of you might be doctors, some of you are teachers. You all have a lot of knowledge. So we all know cooking. Cooking is also knowledge. Some of you are engineers, doctors, very important professions. So is this knowledge not knowledge? This is also knowledge. But all these comes under the perspective of what? Worldly knowledge. The expiry date of this knowledge is still what? Is limited to this birth. However, the knowledge that Shri Krishna is explaining here is what? It is eternal. One who has this knowledge is going to last you for many births. It is going to be what? It is going to be the foundation. It is going to lead to a road of liberation through this entire vicious cycle of birth and death. And hence this knowledge is the real knowledge. This understanding, this knowledge is the crux of everything. This is what Shri Krishna has been explaining. He will be explaining throughout this entire chapter. We have to understand this particular thing. What we have seen so far, this sharir, this body is a field, and the knower of these field is God himself. This God himself is present in each of the fields. Okay, in each of the fields, and the knowledge of field, the observer of this field, the one who is also present, this entire mechanism, understanding this entire mechanism is the real definition of knowledge. This we have to understand. Then this kshetrajna, which we were talking about, this he is indistinguishable from me, from the God, is what Shri Krishna is telling. And the knowledge of kshetra and kshetrajna, it is the real knowledge. Why this knowledge is important, we have to also understand. See, in the previous chapters you have already heard, nahi jnanena sadrasham pavitram hina vidyate. Nothing is more pious, nothing is more pure than knowledge. And in the Vibhuti Yoga also we have seen what is the most important thing, adhyatma vidya vidyanam. So Shri Krishna has not only given the elaborate importance of knowledge, but also he's saying that amongst all the different types of knowledge that exist, what we have to do, we have to understand that the spiritual knowledge, the adhyatma jnana, the knowledge of atma jnana, is what the most superior knowledge. This we have to understand. These two concepts are explained in further details by Shri Krishna. Takshetram yaccha yadrakcha yadvikari yatascha yat sachayo yat prabhavascha tatsamasena meshrunu. What Shri Krishna is doing here, he's giving an very important introduction to what he's going to be telling further. What Shri Krishna is going to tell, whatever is the whatever I'm going to tell you in this particular further, what I'm going to tell you, I'm giving you, he's given an introduction to what he's going to preach further. What he is going to tell, Shri Krishna is now having many questions. Shri Krishna knows that there are many questions in the mind of Arjun. One by one, he is going to carefully answer everything. And what he is going to tell, yat tat kshetram yaccha yadrikcha yadvikari yataschayat. These are the different questions that he is going to cover. How big is this kshetra? Where is the kshetrajna? Suppose, see, when we're talking about fields, if somebody goes to buy a field, okay, if you are going to buy a field, what are the different things when you go to buy a piece of land? What do? We try to find out how big is the size of this, at what depth will I reach water level, what is the water level in that particular land, what is the what are other things, who has owned this land before, what can grow on this land. These are the different things that we think about. Same questions Shri Krishna is going to answer for Arjun, that if I consider this body as a kshetra, as a piece of field, then what all is going to happen on this kshetra? That is what we are going to discuss. Sachayo yat prabhavascha. How is the what is it? What are its properties? What changes is it going to undergo? Yadvikari, what changes this kshetra undergoes? And what are the different causes that are different causes from which this entire results that we are going to see on this field that are going to come. Now, all these questions are going to be answered. What he's also saying, Samasena Meshruno. I'm going to tell you these in brief. Why in brief? Because it is also a battle. They are also on the battlefield, and also that our Vedas, Upanishads, Shardharshanas, they all give elaborate information about all this. But when a guru is telling the same, the best student is going to grasp it immediately. So all these are in detail told by our Upanishads, Vedas, etc. However, for your reference, for you to understand, I'm going to tell all this in brief. What is a kshetra? What are its properties? What are its effects? And other things I'm going to explain you in detail. Shri Krishna is telling. ऋषिभिर् बहुधा गीतैः छन्दोभिर् विविधैः पृथक् ब्रह्मसूत्रपदैश्चैव हेतुमद्भिर्विनिश्चितैः. See, whatever we are going to learn, this comes under the purview of what? Adhyatma, spirituality. And in itself, Adhyatma or spirituality in itself is a Shastra, means it is a big science, it is a very deep subject in itself. Just like how physics, chemistry, astronomy, engineering, all these subjects are, in itself, Adhyatma is a big Shastra. And whoever understands it, it's good. Whoever doesn't understand it should try to understand it. This is the basic purpose of the entire life, and our rishis, our Vedas, our old scriptures, everything has been focusing on this particular topic, on how this entire human form is. Rishibhir bahudha gitai Chandobhir vividhaif prathak. What in different chanda, you all know, Anushtup chanda, Chitrashtup chanda, this is what we know, in different forms, in different poetries, in different scriptures. All this entire Adhyatma Jnana, Atma Jnana, this knowledge is discussed in detail. By whom? By Rishi Munis and everything else. And Brahma Sutra. What are Brahma Sutras? We all should also, just because we are, seekers of spirituality, a little thing we should know about what are Brahma Sutras. Brahma Sutras have been compiled by Maharshi Vedavyas. And when he has compiled them from what they are, from Upanishads, whatever, there are different Upanishads which have lot of knowledge, and Brahma Sutra should be studied before studying the Upanishads. They are like the basic grammar, basic grammar for understanding all the Upanishads. So Brahma Sutras, all these things, this knowledge that Shri Krishna is going to talk about, this has been explained in different forms, in various forms, in different poetries. Our Rishi Munis have done. And one thing we have to also understand from this particular shloka, and in general, for our understanding, we all should know that now, see, science has progressed quite a bit. We have telescopes, microscopes, CT scans, X-ray machines, and whatnot to understand how a human form is and how this body works, etc., etc. But our Rishi Munis, so many thousands of years back, with absolutely no help from all these equipments, they have had such deep knowledge, such deep study, such deep insight into the body, into the human form. This is absolutely amazing to understand. What our science is still trying to find out, our rishis have known from so many thousands of years. See, like even now, our science doesn't have an understanding of soul and a proper understanding of. So now obviously things are much more better. We know about the physical structure, but in those days also, so beautifully our Rishi Munis have done such elaborate study about the body and have classified this entire Sharir, this entire body, into different, what do you call, in different, it has been, cover, it is in a shell. Now, there, just like how an onion is, onion peels, one peel, there is another layer, another peel, you will reach another layer, and then you reach the core. Accordingly, this each core is called as a kosh, and our body, they have described as a proper, sphere wherein there it is under different levels, in different stratas, what you could say. So there are different layers that Rishi Munis have explained. Annamay kosh, the physical body. Below that is the pranamay kosh, where our life stays. Manomay kosh, in that our mind is there. Vijnanamay kosh, and in the end there is the Anandamay kosh, where we say this Chetana, the Jyoti, the real soul is going to be residing. So much analysis has been done by our Rishi Munis so many thousands of years back. Now the science is advancing and it is also realizing the same things, but this different things that our Rishi Munis have sung from thousands of years, it in itself is a great realization, and we should feel proud of this legacy of knowledge that we all have. We are all the what do you say, we are all children of these Rishi Munis. We have all inherited such great knowledge, and this type of study is extremely important for all of us. This should be the greatest ultimate aim of human life, to have an understanding of what our real birth is. And in this entire process, in the entire process, they have written a lot of big scriptures and have explained how this entire life has come into existence, how the body has been formed, how everything around us that we see is developed. This first focusing on the Kshetra, on this body. So first Shri Krishna is going to explain about Kshetra, and then he is going to focus on what is Kshetrajna. And in between there are the structure of this chapter is extremely beautiful. So first Shri Krishna tells, focus on yourself. What is you? What is this body? Who are you? What are you made up of? That first Shri Krishna wants us to focus on, and that he is explained. Again, samasena me shrunu, tat samasena me shrunu. So he has explained in brief in the 5th and the 6th shloka, what is this body made up of? What is what are the different constituents of this kshetra, that is the field in which we are residing. Mahabhutanya hangaro buddhiravyakta Mevacha Indriyani Dashaikancha Panchachendriya Gochara Mahabhutanya Hankaro. There are Pancha Mahabhut, we all know, 5 Mahabhut. See, basically this entire process, it originates from Prakriti and Purush. We all are students of Bhagavad-Gītā, sadhaks of Bhagavad-Gītā. We have to understand these two very important terms. Before we dive into these two shlokas, we have to have an understanding of these two terms nicely, Prakriti and the Purush. What is the meaning of Prakriti? What is the meaning of Purush? Prakriti is what you are going to be able to see. Whatever is visible, that is matter, is Prakriti. And whatever is the invisible, subtle power that is making everything work, if the subtle consciousness that is making the matter work, that is referred to as Purush. So For instance, now we all are talking through this computer. How is this I am on the laptop. You all must be, some of you might from mobiles, connected from the mobiles, etc. In some videos, I'm seeing the fan is going on. How are these equipments working? How are these equipments working? There is a physical body, the laptop made up of whatever iron, steel, all different metals combined together. So the fan that is visible, it is made up from different material. It has a physical view. We can see it. Now, how it is working? Can it work by itself? No, it needs the electricity. So the physical appearance is given by matter. This matter is the Prakriti. And what is running this? The electricity. The laptop is working on electricity. Your mobiles are working on some charge which you cannot see. Basically, can you physically see the charging? Can you physically see the electricity that is making it work? No. Can you physically see the electricity that is working the fans and lights work? No. This electricity is a form of Purush. So matter is Prakriti and Purush is the conscious, which is lying within. What are the important properties of the Prakriti? The Prakriti, it can change its form. So this change is referred to, or it can, it can change its form from one form to another. This process of changing is called as Vikar. The process of modification is known as Vikar in Sanskrit. These words you should all know. What is the meaning of Vikar? That there can be a modification. In the Prakriti, there can be a modification. However, in the Purush, that is in the Chaitanya, in the conscious form, on the cosmic energy, there is no Vikar that can happen, means there is no modification that can happen. These are the two distinct words, and when these two are united, then the nature that we see around us, the Srishti that we see around us that is working, is visible. So this entire thing is functioning how? By the unison or by the united work of what? The Prakriti and the Purush. We should know what is Prakriti and what is Purush. The Prakriti, this is a very important thing. Prakriti, the matter, is the one which has no knowledge of itself, and it doesn't have the knowledge of others also. Now, leave the electricity and this form. So, suppose you consider a pen. Now, once if I'm writing something with the help of the pen, I am the force which is writing with it, making the word right. The pen doesn't know what it is writing. The pen has no knowledge of himself. It is Prakriti. It has no knowledge of himself. It has no knowledge of the writer. But the writer who is writing has the knowledge of pen also and has the knowledge of himself also. So it forms the Purush. So the Purush or the Chaitanya or the conscious cosmic energy is what? It has the knowledge of itself and it has the knowledge of others also. So these are the two things which are responsible for making this entire universe. This entire universe is coming into picture by a combined effort of the Prakriti and the Purush. Now, from the Prakriti, from the matter, other things are going to arise. This entire process of what arises out of Prakriti is explained in the 5th and 6th shloka. From the Prakriti, the first thing that comes is the Mahatattva Buddhi. Swamiji has explained this in very beautiful terms. The first thing that comes is Mahatattva Buddhi. And from the Buddhi, what comes is Ahankar. Now, this Ahankar is one word which is a kind of little, misunderstood by most of us. It is in terms of Hindi and other Indian languages, it is considered as pride or ego. But that is not the meaning of Ahankar in entire Bhagavad Gita, or in particular this shloka. We have to understand what has come is the feeling of I-ness from Buddhi, from the intellect. And the first thing that came from Prakriti was intellect. And from this Prakriti, many different things are going to come. We are going to see this. From Prakriti, what has come? buddhi. From buddhi has come the ahankar. What is ahankar? Ahankar is derived from the words aham and kru. Means here it means my, okay, the feeling of I-ness, okay, the feeling of myself, okay, this is what a modification of the prakriti, and this ahankar has come. Now prakriti, we all know, has three gunas: rajogun, tamogun, and sattva gun. Because prakriti has three guns, the ahankar, the feeling of I-ness, the sense of I-ness also automatically got these gunas, and there became three types of ahankar. Tamo guni ahankar, rajo guni ahankar, and sattva guni ahankar. And from these ahankar, what has come? The different sense organs have originated. Different organs have originated. What are they? Our karmendriyani. Whatever 5 karmendriyani we have, 5, what are the 10 indriya, 10 senses we have, out of which 5 are the ones that help us do actions. 5 help us gain knowledge. We all know the smell, the vision, the speech. These are all our senses. We all know. There are 5 karmendriyani, 5 jnanendriyani. They are the ones which help us understand our surroundings, are the jnanendriyani. There are 10 senses which have come. These senses and what? One man, the mind that we have. All these have come, are born out of this ahankar. So Mahabhutanya, another thing that has come from this is also the 5 from the prakriti. What comes now? This also comes from ahankar. We'll not go into the detailed structure of it, but the 5 elements that we know: earth element, fire, water, wind, and land, prithvi, agni, vayu. All these 5 elements, they come from what? The ahankar, from these prakriti. From prakriti, all these things have come. There is a very detailed process known as panchikaran process, which is responsible for creating this entire thing. But we have to, for the understanding of this shloka, it is important for us to understand that what all have originated from the prakriti: the mahabhut, pancha mahabhut, the ahankar, buddhi, our sense organs, indriyani, and panchachendriya gocharaha. What is the meaning of this panchachendriya gocharaha? These are these are the subjects of our senses. What are the subjects of our senses? Rupa, rasa, gandha. What all our indriya, what all our sense organs love to enjoy, these are those panchachendriya gocharaha. The subjects of our senses are also originated. And this is the entire creation, that it is coming from what? The prakriti. Apart from these, what has happened? These things have originated from the prakriti. There is a very detailed process behind it, and from the prakriti, all these things have come. And Purush is sitting and seeing. Okay, Purush is very much going to be present in all these. In what form, that also we will be gradually seeing. But for now, understand that from Prakriti, these things have originated. And the Purush, the Kshetrajna, is seeing, and has a complete knowledge of this entire creation that is happening. Now, when this 5 elements, indriya, the panchachendriya gocharaha, buddhi, man, ahankara, all this is created, and it is taking a form of what? Kshetra. And Shri Krishna further explains what is the kshetra consisting of, this entire thing. He has explained this in the next shloka. Ichha dvesha sukham dukkam sanghataschetana dhritihi etat kshetram samasena savikaramudaratam. Ichha. When our indriya, means our sense organs, come in contact with what? In the contact with the worldly pleasure, there is an eruption of what? There is an eruption of desires. There are some desires which are good to have. There are some desires which have no effect. There are some desires which are best avoided. So there is a stimulus, okay, and then ichha is what? Our reaction to that stimulus. There is some worldly subject around us, and then because we have man, ahankar, buddhi, everything is in this particular field called a kshetra, which is also called our body. All these things are there, and with that, what arises? It is ichha. It is also the root cause of what? All the karma, all our karma, all our longing, all our passions, all this is coming from what? From ichha. Then dvesha. It is not necessary that whatever we desire, whatever the desire is originating, it is always going to be fulfilled. There is no guarantee of that. And out of the results of what we get in response to ichha, in response to the desires, what we get arises what? Unfulfillment, which is referred to as what? Dvesha. So if some desire remains unfulfilled, something remains unsuccessful, what happens? The pride is hurt, and it results in what? Dvesha. This is also a part of what? Our kshetra, our field, the area in which we are all operating. And sukhan, dukkhan, what is there? Sukha and dukkha. If whatever desire is fulfilled, what we get is sukha, va, va, va. And if our desire is unfulfilled, when the result is unpleasant, not according to our wishes, then what happens is the dukkha, that is unhappiness. So happiness and unhappiness come within the periphery of what? In periphery of this body. So body is not just matter, but also all these characteristics. So body, along with its physical structure and characteristics, is referred to as what? The kshetra. Kshetra mitya vidhiyate. This entire thing is kshetra. Etat kshetra. Samasena savikara mudaratam. And one more thing that is holding all these things together is what? The firmness on anything. Sukha, dukkha, everything, whatever we are seeing amongst ourselves, this is dhriti. So dhriti is whatever we see in ourselves, the effort, effort is all focused in one direction. That direction will be decided whether we reach that direction or not. That will be decided by what? Dhriti, the firmness on anything. This comes in the periphery of what? Kshetra again. And this entire thing together is held together by what? Also by consciousness. That is the Chetana. What is the Chetana? Chetana is the one that is the one which is going to know that this entire thing is what? There is some subtle power within us which is making us aware whether our desire is right or wrong, which is letting us, if we are happy, it is also ensuring that we remain happy. If we are sad, it is trying to make us happy. There is a Chetana, there is a consciousness, there is a subtle power residing within us, which is knowing, which is aware of all these things, and that also resides within us. This in totality is what? Kshetra. That is the field. Why is it called field? Now, when all these things come together, there are two there are two things that can be reaped out of field. Now, if the field is very nice, if the tree is very well, if the land is good, what you are going to see? We are going to see good greenery, good amount of trees, and good enough amount of everything. But if we see that, the tree is not growing, means what? The land is not fertile enough. Whatever we have seen so far, this comes in the periphery of Kshetra. There are two things that can happen on a field. If the field is well taken care of, if the field is good, what is it going to give? It is going to give you very good crops. It is going to give a very good, it is going to reap very good fruits. Everything is going to be very nice. Or there can be a failure of agriculture. Similarly, from the kshetra, from what is the result of this entire body, what is the result of this, and the way this kshetra is working, it is going to result in the karma. And ultimately from karma are going to come two things. One is either the sins, papa, or punya, good deeds. Either it is going to be good deeds or bad deeds. And based on what are the good or bad deeds, the quality of the field is going to be understood. The quality of the field is going to be understood. So see, if the underground water is nourishing the tree, though we cannot see the underground water, what is going to happen? We will understand that, yeah, the field is good. It is giving rise to good field, good crops. If our field is good, if our kshetra, mana, buddhi, ahankar, our indriya, everything focused on the correct things, if everything is good, then what is it going to mean? That the good deeds are coming out, means the punya is going to happen from our karmas. Good deeds are going to happen through our karmas. This is a very important thing. Now, Shri Krishna, before explaining the Kshetrajna, the details of Kshetrajna, what is he telling? Before we understand the Kshetrajna, we have to know that knowledge is also has to be there to get any kind of knowledge. Now, like I gave an example of underwater. If the underwater ground is nourishing the tree, though we cannot see, we know it is there and it is nourishing the tree. Similarly, the knowledge, the real knowledge, it cannot be seen. Whatever knowledge a person has, this knowledge is not going to be visible. It is an abstract thing. Knowledge is an abstract thing, and because knowledge is abstract, it is not going to be visible. How do we know that whether the kshetra is having a good enough knowledge of how do you know yourself properly? For that, it is there, we cannot get certificate of knowledge. Nobody can say that this particular person is knowledgeable. The knowledge is visible from what? The behavior, from the behavior of the person, from the behavior of the great knowledgeable people. This is what is going to explain. For instance, now we know that, what is, if somebody asks me what is courage, what is courage? Can anybody just show courage? No. But when we are explaining the definition of courage to anybody, how will we explain it? From what Maharana Pratap was. That is courage. What is courage? What the valor that Shivaji Maharaj has demonstrated, that is courage. So when we are trying to explain something to somebody, when we are trying to explain kshetra, kshetrajna, all these things, and when we are telling that the knowledge is what? The difference between these two things, before trying to understand, we have to see who are the knowledgeable people. How do we explain who are knowledgeable? Because there cannot be any certification for a knowledgeable person. There cannot be, because it is an abstract quality. Being knowledgeable is an abstract quality. How do we explain it? That can be explained by what? Explaining the characteristics of a knowledgeable person. What are the different characteristics of a knowledgeable person will give you an insight of what a knowledgeable person is, how a knowledgeable person is. This is the very important thing. And one very important thing we should know, when we all are trying to understand Bhagavad Gita, there are 5 places where some very important lists are given. When we are learning Bhagavad Gita, you can consider these as 5 litmus tests. You know what is a litmus test? Litmus test is used to find out whether, in science, students will know whether a thing is acidic or basic. For that, we do a litmus test. Litmus test in normal terms means knowing whether this is, correct or not. Now, for understanding whether these qualities are there in a person or not, what is very important? There are some 5 checkpoints which are there in Bhagavad Gita. Each Bhagavad Gita sadhak should understand the 5 basic checkpoints in Bhagavad Gita. Where are these checkpoints? The first checkpoint is in the second chapter, the characteristics of a sthita prajna. Who is a sthita prajna? The one whose buddhi is steady. The steadfast person is a sthita prajna. Gradually, we come to a point where after sthita prajna, we come to the devotee, the characteristics of an ideal devotee. These are explained in the 12th chapter. We should understand these. After that, the qualities of a gunati. You have seen in the level 2, you have come across a chapter, Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga, for the characteristics of a gunati, the person who is beyond all gunas, is the gunati. That is, those qualities are explained in the 14th chapter. And the Daivi and Daivi Gun, Asuri Gun, these are also there. These are explained in what? The 16th chapter, the Daivi Gun and the Asuri Gun. These are the different lists. Similarly, one very important list is going to come in this chapter from the 7th shloka onwards. And these are the characteristics of a jnani, of a knowledgeable person. Extremely important list starts from the 7th shloka. I wanted to take at least a few. Just to first, we will try to touch. We can take these in detail from the next session. Amanitva madambitva mahimsa kshantirarjavam acharyopasanam shaucham sthairyam vinigraha. Just like the qualities of knowledgeable person are going to be seen from the behavior, from the characteristics of this person. What does a knowledgeable person be like? If some child asks me, tell me how an ideal son should be, what we'll tell? The ideal son, some characteristics we'll tell, and then we'll say he should be like Rama. Like that, what are the ideal characteristics of jnani, a knowledgeable person, are explained here. The very first thing, one of the most important, the very first characteristics which we all should know, amanitvam. That is the first characteristics of a knowledgeable person. What is amanitvam? The one who is not desirous of any honor, of too much respect. Amanitva means what? The one who is not expecting, who doesn't go and tell that, oh, I am a knowledgeable person. The moment somebody says that I am a knowledgeable person, means what? He is not knowledgeable. The first sign is a complete absence of what? Of pride. A complete absence of the superiority complex is the first quality of a knowledgeable person. Superiority arises due to what? Identity. And because somebody is very, strongly attached to the material things, they cannot see the truth, and then they start attaching importance to what? I am a vice president of so and so company, I am this, I am that, and to forget what they actually are. Ultimately, each one of us is what? It is just a kshetra. We have to be amani, we have to be a completely egoless, free of all pride, and that kind of person will be what? A knowledgeable person. Here, very beautiful example comes from our ex-president Rajendra Prasad ji. When he had called, once he got a call from some random person, and he said, okay, I want to talk to the president, Rajendra Prasad ji, and I want to talk to him. Now Rajendra Prasad ji said, okay, who are you talking? So he said, what do you have to do? Just connect me to Rajendra Prasad. I'm so and so, I'm Palana, I'm president here, I'm a president there, I'm also a chancellor here, I'm a chancellor there, and I have a special recommendation from a very special person, and I wish to talk to him. So understanding, he said, okay. And then in the end, he told his name, that I am so and so, my name is so and so, and I am vice chancellor here, there, all this. He said, but who are you to ask me? Just connect me to the president. And Rajendra Prasad ji, president. He is the president. And what he's saying? I am Rajendra Prasad. He's not even adding this post there. I am the president Rajendra Prasad. He's just saying, okay, you can talk to me. I am Rajendra Prasad. In a minute, the entire humility, it will liquefy the ego of the person in front of them. That is the kind of person a knowledgeable person is. Amanitva. Amanitva is somebody who has absolutely no ego. The second characteristic that Sri Krishna says is what? Adam Vitvam. Pretending what you are not is Adam Vitvam. See, most of us, we are something else when we are alone, and we are something totally different when we are in front of other people. Some people, why before doing the puja, sleepy, looking at the phone, looking at WhatsApps. The moment somebody comes and sees that you're doing puja, immediately Ram 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 Ram. That kind of behavior. What? Though we are not doing the puja with full concentration, there is this subtle hypocrisy. All of a sudden, when somebody is seeing you, what happens? All of a sudden, this show off starts. Somebody who doesn't show off, complete absence of this sort of hypocrisy, is known as what? Adam Vitvam. Ahimsa Kshantirarjavam. The third characteristic that Sri Krishna mentions is ahimsa. Ahimsa is a complete absence of violence. This is a very important characteristic. We should not be covering it in so much hurry, but just briefly we'll go through it. Ahimsa. What does it mean? Not hurting. When we think of ahimsa, we always think about a physical violence, violent. But here, see, everybody is a sadhak of Bhagavad Gita, where nobody will go and indulge themselves in the physical violence. But what kind of violence we are trying to refrain from here is the psychological violence. Okay, the one who attains the psychological non-violence, not affecting anybody by the speech. Jnaneshwar Maharaj gives very beautiful explanation about violence, non-violence. What he says is non-violence, instead of focusing on the don'ts, see, for anything we will focus on do's and the don'ts. Instead of focusing on the don'ts, focus on the do's. And what are the do's of ahimsa? Do something good for others. That is the ahimsa in real sense. That is the ahimsa in real sense. Means if you are just thinking, I will not hurt others, there is still some pessimism in it. Jnaneshwar Maharaj says ahimsa should be with what? Positivity. It should be with optimism. What you have to do in ahimsa? You have to do good to others. When the intent is to do good for others, the negativity will never come. You will never hurt anybody. Ahimsa even with our Vani, with our speech. Anutvegakaram Vakyam. We have seen this in the 17th chapter. We should not hurt others with a bad speech. From mind also, that ahimsa should not happen. And the next characteristic Shri Krishna says of a knowledgeable person is Shanti. What is the meaning of Shanti? It means endurance. It means forgiveness. That is, even if you have a capacity to take a revenge on someone, you are forgiving someone, that is Kshama, that is Shanti. Forgiving. And also not having a memory that I have forgiven. What we will do? I have given so many lakh rupees loan. And the particular person out of poverty is not able to repay it. And you forgive the loan. Okay, forget it. I am a rich person. I will also forgive your loan. But what we will do? We'll go and tell 100 other people that I have forgiven, I have forgiven, I have forgiven. This is not forgiveness. When we go and talk about it, it is not forgiveness. Anakroshe kshama. Without talking about it, without feeling guilty about it, then going and doing the forgiveness is Shanti. Shanti Arjavam, beautiful characteristic, that is simplicity. When when the first lady doctor from our country, she had gone to foreign, how she used to dress up herself. There also, when the clan cotton sari, simplicity, representing the culture, simple. No matter where they are, some people from their outlook, we will never guess how high what high post they are. Absolute absence of crookedness, deceit. That is Arjavam, simplicity. And Acharyopasanam Shaucham. Stairyam Atma Vinigraha. These are the beautiful characteristics. After Arjavam, Acharyopasanam. The very beginning of Adhyatma spirituality starts from the service of a guru. We have like a small child, a both child, a small child, how he will be, having a very beautiful feeling, very innocent, very subtle feeling towards the mother. Similarly, that kind of feeling every Shishya should have towards their guru and should do the seva, should be doing service of guru. Sometimes people feel, where will I get a guru? All that, the emotion of having a guru is what is going to be more important. And shaucham, purity. Purity of what? Purity, not just external purity, taking bath and staying clean and looking beautiful. No, it is also the internal purity. What? The purity of the mind, the purity of your thoughts. That is also important. When we talk about purity, it comes from everything, the food and our thoughts, what we eat, everything is responsible for the purity. And sthairya. Sthairya is what? Firmness of the mind, firmness. Our mind should be fixed on something, fixed on the aim of a life, of how the thing should be, how a mother is, no matter where she is, and at the back of mind, she remembers every time that what is going on with my child. Or when a bird, you must have seen a mother bird, she's flying throughout the day, but her mind is fixed on what? The small bird in the nest. She is searching for food when the mind is fixed on the what? On the small baby in the nest. Mirabai's mind was always fixed on what? On Krishnaji. Like that, sthairya. You all are L4 students. You all also have sthairya. You have shown lot of sthairya, completing the entire course of 4 levels. From level 1 till that is sthairya. Having your mind fixed, I want to complete this entire 4-level course, and this can be possible by what? Atma Vinigraha. The last characteristics explained in this particular shloka is a complete control of what? Mind, and a complete control of the senses. This description of these shlokas, these characteristics is extremely deep, extremely beautiful. And we'll continue to see the characteristics of a knowledgeable person in the next session also. Till then, have a very beautiful Gita My Life. This entire discourse I offer at the feet of Swamiji and Shri Krishna himself. Om Hari Om Shri Krishna Pranamastu. Om Tat Sat. Sorry about the time also, but can't help it.
It was such a delightful, beautiful session, and all through the time as you were speaking, I was thinking of the correct adjective to be able to describe this session, and only word that kept coming was sahaj and saral, the way you explained this difficult chapter, and I could not find appropriate English term for it, so I will say this session was so sahaj and so saral. Thank you so much, Didi. All the sadhaks who have some question will raise their hand, please, and ask the question. So I can unmute all of the people. You just give such clear examples, whether it was the puja thing, most of us do that, and it was like so bang on point that I think nobody even is reeling under the effect of not able to ask
Sometimes I
questions.
feel I don't do justice to the topic also, because it is so deep, so many thoughts kept coming, and then I lost the track of time, so I'm really sorry about that also. But
it was a wonderful session. I can see all the faces of our sadhak, and the way we are all reeling under your effect, your voice, your, like I said, sahaj, saral, it just goes straight to the heart, straight to the mind. And I don't see any raised hand at this point of time, which is like amazing in itself. And if they come up with answer, please do come back next week. If you have questions, please write it down so that we can ask it next week, and Didi will take it on from there.
So finally, there is one hand at the CG.
Yeah.
Two hands are there.
Please switch on your video, Atasi ji and Sunanda ji, and ask your question. Yeah. Please unmute yourself. Lovely.
Jai Shri Krishna Didi.
Jai Shri Krishna Didi. Pranam.
You told about that 5 checkpoints while learning Bhagavad Gita. The first one is Sita Pragya, second one Gunatita, third one is Daivi Guna, and fourth one is characteristics of knowledgeable person. Then what is the
There
fifth
is
one?
the Bhakti Yoga in the 12th chapter, the characteristics of a devotee. There are 49 lakshan, 49 characteristics of a great devotee that are explained in the Bhakti Yoga. That is the 5th litmus test.
Thank you, Didi. You explained so well. I am so happy to hear
Just tried
all this.
whatever Swamiji could listen.
Jai Shri Krishna. Jai Shri Krishna.
Sunanda
Yes,
Didi.
Didi. Yes, Didi, thank you very much for your excellent explanation. I have nothing to say. Only one thing I missed, Didi. I was actually writing down everything what you were saying. Only I missed one thing. I just want to ask you. There are 5 basic checkpoints you have said.
I'll
That is
repeat
chapter.
the checkpoints.
Yes.
I'll
Please
repeat the
repeat them.
checkpoints for everybody because I think that is
Yes.
the one that most of
Yes.
you are asking.
Yes,
Sthita
Didi.
Pragyata, the characteristics of a Sthita Pragya person, the one who
That is
has
in
a
chapter
steady
2.
intellect. That is in chapter 2. Then
And
in
then
chapter number 12, the characteristics of a devotee, Bhakta.
oh,
The
it is in
important
12.
characteristic.
12.
In this
Okay.
12th chapter. In the 13th chapter, we are going to see the characteristics of a knowledgeable person. What are the characteristics, identification points of a knowledgeable person? In the 14th chapter, we have seen the characteristics of a gunatita, the one who is beyond the 3 gunas, that is the Rajogun, Tamogun, and Sattvagun.
Yes.
And in the 16th chapter, we have seen the Daivasura Sampad Vibhaga Yoga. We have seen the characteristics of the Daivi Sampada and the Asuri Sampada.
Very good. And then comes the last one, that is 13th chapter, Didi.
Yeah, 13th chapter, yeah, I told you. 2nd, 12th, 13th, 14th, 16th.
Okay. Okay. Daivagam. Thank you, Didi. Nothing to say. Excellent. Yeah, Mane, it is my good
Trying,
luck.
Didi. I seek your blessings always, and Swamiji's blessings and Krishna's blessings.
Thank you very much. Yes, Didi.
Narendra Bhaiya.
Haji, very good explanation for the shloka. I just want to know about the slok number 5th. Slok number 5th. Yeah. What is this actually? We say samasti buddhi and samasti ahankar. Samasti is buddhi. Hello.
Yeah. Samashti Buddhi.
And samasti ahankar. Meaning of samasti, it is written the explanation in the Gita.
I use the word samashti. I don't think I use the word samashti.
No, you did not use, but they say वह क्षेत्र क्या है? मूल प्रकृति and समष्टि बुद्धि, समष्टि अहंकार, 5 महाभूत 10 इंद्रिया. So it is written in the bracket समष्टि and समष्टि अहंकार. No.
Didi, you are muted.
I'm
Hello?
sorry. Yeah. Am I audible now?
Yes. Didi.
Yeah.
Okay. The samashti, the one that is originating from the prakriti. See, basically, the prakriti is samashti. The prakriti is the originator of everything, totality. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
So
Yeah.
it basically means the totality of everything. So, what is happening, what is coming from the Prakriti are the Buddhi, the Ahankar, and from Ahankar comes 3 types of Ahankar, and from these 3 types of Ahankar, this entire thing is coming out in totality. From the Ahankar, only from the Tamasic Ahankar, the Pancha Mahabhut are originating. That also they are originating in a very subtle form. When they mix with each other, they come in the visible form. Okay. Then from Rajas Ahankar, our sense organs are coming. All this is happening in totality. That is what is Samashti Buddhi and Samashti Ahankar. In totality, it is happening.
You mean that is the 24 points, 24
Yes,
tattva, yeah, right?
Yes, the entire tattvas that are coming, that is.
Thank you very much.
this is all very deep and no matter how much detail you can.
So, Didi, I think there is, if anybody has any more questions, so please raise your hand. And I'll take this opportunity to remind you all that our 28th L1 batch is starting from 18th of September. So do spread awareness and get as many people to this parivar. Abhilasha Didi has a question. Abhilasha Didi, can you please start your video? Didi, ask your question.
Can you explain once again the difference between Prakriti and Purush?
Difference between Prakriti and Purush. Prakriti is the matter, Devi, and Purush is the subconscious energy within that matter. Huh?
Prakriti means nature, or it includes?
Prakriti means nature, it means matter. Basically, see, Prakriti, we take it in terms of nature, but in terms of spirituality, in terms of Adhyatma, Prakriti means matter, and Purush is the subconscious. Like as I told you in the example of a fan is working, the physical body of the fan is the Prakriti, and the one that is energizing it to make it function is the Purush Tattva, that is the electricity, is the Purush Tattva. This is just an indicative example. Okay, it is not a complete example. That also one should understand. But just for the sake of, until and unless you visualize something, it becomes difficult to understand. That is why Prakriti is matter. Okay, Jada. Jada means anything that you can see. There are 3 tests for what is Prakriti and what is Purush also. You can just imagine. Something that you can see is Prakriti. Something that does not have the knowledge of itself, that is Prakriti. It doesn't have knowledge of itself, it doesn't have knowledge of others, that is Prakriti. What is Purush? Purush is the conscious energy. It has the knowledge of itself, it also has the knowledge of Prakriti. So these are some basic points about Prakriti and Purush.
Okay, thank you.
See.
Vidushi Didi.
Jai Shri Krishna, Vidushi Ji, Pranam. Oh, you need to unmute.
Please unmute yourself, Didi.
Please unmute.
Jai Shri Krishna, Didi. I just wanted to know whether I'm very new to your pravachans. So I wanted to know whether they are available in the PDF form. And
I am not sure about the PDF forms, but they are also there. PDFs are also there, but the translation, all that, I don't know. Everything, all Vivechans are available on vivechan.learngita.com. You can visit this website and get all the Vivechans. And
Thank
all
you.
the PDFs are also available on that particular website. Everybody's Vivechans are available on Vivechan.
Thank you, Didi. Thank you.
Jai Shri
Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna Ji. Yes, very important. All the Vivechans, right from the very beginning up to now, are all available on vivechan.learngita.com. So we can all access it and go through the Vivechans. I guess we have come to this point where I will take this opportunity to thank our technical team for this beautiful session and all the people working behind the scene for making this session possible. Thank you, Sevis, and you, Sadhaks, for coming and making us give the seva, giving us the opportunity to serve you. Thank you so very much. Do come next time. And before we end the session, I am going to call forward Sandhya Didi, who is from Nagpur, and she's retired from her worldly services, joined Gita Parivar in 2022 and serving as step. So she will offer this entire session with her prayer to the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna, and after that we will run the Hanuman Chalisa. Please try to stay with us to chant the Hanuman Chalisa, and then we can start our journey for a new week on Monday. Sandhya Didi, please unmute yourself, Didi. Sandhya Didi. Sandhya, you have to unmute. Didi, I have sent you the request to unmute. Yeah.
Unmute.
Ji.
Jai Shri Krishna. Yogesham Satchidanandam Vasudevam Vrajapriyam Dharma Samstapakam Veeram Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum श्री कृष्णं वंदे जगद्गुरुं। जय श्री कृष्ण महाराज की जय।
Jai Shri Krishna. Now we'll play the Hanuman Chalisa. Thank you, Shraddha Didi, one more time for this beautiful vivation. We'll stay together for Hanuman Chalisa and then Vaishali Didi.
Yes. श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मनु मुकुरु सुधारी बरनउ रघुबर विमल जसु जो दायक फलचारी बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेस विकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीसति लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मूज जनेऊ साजे शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिवे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिवे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज सवारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुबीर हरषि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरतई सम भाई सहस बदन तुम रोजस गावे अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा जम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाते कवि कोविद कहि सकै कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीवहि कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीन्हा तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना जुग सहस्र जो जन पर भानु लील्यो ताहि मधुर फल जानू प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माहि जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाही दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हरे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज सम्हारो आपे तीनों लोक हांकते कांपे भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे महावीर जब नाम सुनावे नासै रोग हरै सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत वीरा संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे चारों जुग परताप तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा साधु संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे अष्ट सिद्धि नौ निधि के दाता असवर दीन जानकी माता राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे अंत काल रघुबर पुर जाई जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई और देवता चित्तन धरई हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीरा जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई छूट ही बंदी महासुख होई जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा होय सिद्धि साखी गौरीसा तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा पवन तनय संकट हरन मंगल मूर्ति रूप राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसहु सुर भूप सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय।
Jai Shri Ram, Jai Hanuman. Thank you so very much for joining. Please do come back next week for more such session with Shraddha Didi. Have a beautiful, blissful and blessed week ahead. Jai Shri Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Namaste, Didi.